Welkom bij Eemland on the Move. En we gaan terugkijken op het seizoen. En we beginnen hiermee met onze Engelse vriend, the one and only Gareth Davies. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, you love it here, right, in this podcast.
I've struggled in the past, but now I'm going to embrace it. I'm back.
You're finally getting to it.
Yeah.
Well, it looks you look more relaxed than usual, which I can imagine considering the results. You caught a tan, so that's also highly unusual for the average British person. That sticks. So tell me, what about the season?
The season went really well. I think.
What was it? What made it? So let's start. What made a difference between this and last season?
I think a better connection. I think we got connected early on. We overcame. I think we had about 49 different players in that team this season, but we were all connected quite well.
49 different players. Wow.
And from the beginning, there was a lot of talent there, and there was a lot of talent moving up. And I think if you look at the team pictures that we had, there were only 7 guys in that picture that played in the final that we played 2 weeks ago, or last week. It was only a week ago, actually.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, there's been lots of injuries, lots of people moving up to the first team, which is what the team's essentially for. I would say that the Futures is not really a championship team. It's more of a learning ground, giving guys exposure and getting people understanding. So playing the same game, similar intensity if you've got a competitive team, but it's not the same.
No, it's. Well, I think there is a big difference between Future and the Eredivisie, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That is. It always amazes me how much. What is it? Quicker, harder, or whatever it is with the Eredivisie compared to Futures. Wow, the level is quite high.
It's all those things, I think. But I think one of the things is the fundamentals are the same.
Mm-hmm.
And we've really smashed the fundamentals this season from a coaching standpoint. And I think everybody's really benefited from it.
So you had a different approach this season?
Probably, actually. I think we did. I think we really looked at the fundamentals of attack, making sure we got that go forward. I think this season we realised it was very difficult to play the old game that we were used to, or everybody knew us for.
Mm-hmm.
I think other teams in the championship probably played that game better than we could.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the Dukes or even HRC to a certain extent. They've got a fairly powerful front five. So changing that game towards the end of the season really picked up the last part of the season for the Eredivisie team, and then I think we sort of fed off that a little bit in the Futures, and it paid off. We got a good bunch of guys together. The guys this year were predominantly last year's Colts. I think Tycho Willeboords have played 20 games out of the 22 games that we played, or the 23 games that we played. Philip, all those guys came in, and they've become much better rugby players. And I think it's served its purpose. And I think now that future class competition is beginning to really show its value to rugby in the Netherlands. I think if you look at the number of people in the Dutch under-18s or the under-20s, they're all playing probably future class.
Yeah. So it's really now becoming an established, recognized.
Yeah, and I think, maybe national team rugby won't benefit from that for another 3 or 4 years, but at least they will, and there's a process in place. And I think that process is beginning to pay off. The level of rugby every year has got better.
Mm-hmm.
I remember playing, I think, when I coached Diak, I played your Futures team then that won it that first season.
Yeah.
And I think the level of rugby then was I've watched the game, it's on Huddle.
Yeah.
The level of rugby then is way lower than the game we're playing now. And I think
so it's already in a 4 year or 3, how long is it? 4 years?
This is 3 years, so we've won it twice out. So we won it the first year, HRC won it last year.
And now we won it again, the third year. So it's already in those 3 years you see the progress that much.
Yeah, but I also, it's also bringing depth to the clubs that are actually invested in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's paying off for us. It's paying off for HRC.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dukes are also it's paying off for all of those teams, because people that would have perhaps drifted away are staying in the game and enjoying the game.
Yeah,
so I think it's only a good thing, really.
Well, it is interesting to see indeed. If you look at the top 4 in the Future and the top 4 in Eeriklas, they are quite similar indeed. So
Apart from a couple of student teams, yes.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the and they're there because most of those guys are young anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it makes sense. Yeah, we had the Rotterdam students. That was
a good bunch of guys actually, and you know, watching their game, you know, they've matured as a club through coaching, or whether they've had to adjust their style of play. You know, they were a really chaotic team once upon a time, but fair play. You know, we had a really hard game against them.
It was
2 weeks ago.
It was tough, wasn't it? Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
It was also tough in the game at Rotterdam students.
Yeah.
I think that was also to do a little bit with us not finishing the opportunities, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was a must-win game. Although everybody knew that they were in the semi-final, it was just a playing for home or away. And I think, you know, we're immature in the way that we face games. We don't look at games the same every week. You know, there's big games and there's little games for us.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's not the way we need to play that. We need to play every game as a game. Yeah. But, you know, the guys are, I don't know, most of those guys are under 18, 19 years old, right?
I think, well...
Apart from Johan.
Who's retiring.
Big mention.
Yeah, big mention, absolutely. Well, he's retiring, so that's also...
Well, he was a part of the reason I think we struggled in Rotterdam, because he was on a wedding in South Africa.
Yeah, indeed. So, he wasn't there. So
we missed him. We found him the week after, and then things clicked. It was good.
But that's also because you're losing 2 anchors. Johan is not going to play next year. Jelle is also not going to be playing anymore.
Yep. I think, you know, we will certainly miss them. Jelle's leadership and Johan's just his work rate.
Yeah.
In defence and attack was off the charts. I think I've looked at his season graphs from Stats Pro, and he's performing really well for a guy, but he's super fit. So I think
he's really
he fits. He still fits, but it's a shame.
Yeah, that's a pity indeed. So do you have already... so yes, we've got Colts coming up that are doing a good job for us. But do you also see other additions to the future team next year that you can you foresee? Or
I'm sure that there's like outlying clubs where there's players with potential that won't find growth in perhaps joining a first team in the second division club or something like that, because there are good Colts teams around. And they think, you know, if they want to develop their game, I think it's for their club and them to decide, you know, what's best for them as players, not necessarily what's best for the club, because, you know, better players playing with better players means a higher standard, a better level. And then, you know, ultimately, you know, Dutch rugby will get better. Yeah. But I think, you know, that's a club thing.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, it could be that you've been reached out to, because you're doing also, that's new for you this year. You've been appointed to do the under-18s?
No. I did it last year as well.
You did it last year again? Okay.
And I've been there or thereabouts for the last 4 years, but head coach this time. It was last year it's the under-18, but the first year of the under-18s.
Oh, okay.
So really working hard on the fundamental work. It paid off. We won 40-7 against Belgium on Sunday.
That was nice, wasn't it?
It was very nice. Fantastic display of, or not necessarily display, but demonstration of all of the skills that we've been sort of working with them on. In terms of shape, in terms of many different things, it was, really good to see.
Well, that's interesting, because indeed Belgium has always been a tough opponent for us, even in the under-18s. But now we seem, they don't, I have to say, they don't play their best players when it comes to the European Championships a lot of times in those matches. But nevertheless, it seems that we really now have it's easier for us to beat them in the youth games.
Yeah, and I think, you know, maybe part of that is to do with the future class and the fact that, you know, the players are getting a better training. If they come up at the Christmas before, you know, they're playing senior level rugby. They're used to the physicality, maybe a little bit of the speed, depending on the club they're in. But you know, there's a big thing for giving them sort of exposure early, I think, and then that helps in the bigger matches, certainly in Prague.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You're going to be in Prague next year?
No. I think we're doing a block that finishes towards the end of June. I think another 3 weeks or so, and then maybe if they pull me in to do some bits and pieces, but it won't be a big role. I don't think.
Oh, okay. So next year, because you're going to keep on doing this, right?
Yeah.
You're enjoying life at Eemland?
Yeah, it's difficult because I live quite a long way away, but it's doable, and I think I get a lot back from this at the moment. I think there's a good bunch of lads. I've connected well with them, and I think to go to another club wouldn't be right for one more year.
No. This next year is definitely going to be your last year?
Yeah, for sure. Well,
you're planning
almost
to go?
100% to South Africa.
Yeah, South Africa. Why South Africa?
Because of my wife.
Wants to go back.
Sister lives there, lives and works there. Would like to go there. So that's we go every year, and
Have you already found a spot there? Or?
No, we're still sort of open, looking at different places, looking at different things, and but yeah, that's dealing with the Office of Home Affairs and things like that, which takes a while. But no, we're confident it will happen. And
so when you go to South Africa, will you also be involved with rugby?
I hope so. Yeah. So I'm talking to schools and province rugby.
Where in South Africa are you going to be?
Either Cape Town or KZN.
Oh yeah. Oh really? But that's really
no. But then my wife lived in both.
Oh okay.
So
that's really different.
Massively.
Yeah.
Massively. But but still, I think it's still it's still great. I think having rugby on television almost 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I know.
Things like that for me. Whenever we go on holiday. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's lovely. Okay, cool. Well, again, Gareth, the last game against HRC was quite tight at the end, wasn't it? Or it seemed, yeah.
I think, and credit to them on that day as well. I think we expected for them to, like they had in the previous games, just start fixing problems on their own, and then their systems would fall apart. And they certainly weren't the team that we played 3 weeks before. They came at us with. Yeah, they had some good positional players. I think their 9, their 10, and their 15 were exceptional.
Yeah, Jan Meyer,
Phil Dahmer, and Jens Bezoudenhout were exceptional in the week before against Gooi. And analysing their game, it became clear that they'd sort of really connected. Mm-hmm. A few weeks before they turned on each other, and they were, why is this not happening? Why is this not working? And they stuck at it. And I think there was a referee decision that went, which was a strange decision, and they won a scrum. They kicked the ball and could have scored from that. And I think if they had have done, that would have been the match for them. Yeah. And we were lucky. It was a poor decision, but you get that.
Yeah, you get and
that's
the luck of a final, right?
And then we managed to hang on to win, and it was there. The first 20 minutes of the second half was a real dig deep effort, huge from every single player, and it was a real proud moment, but also a relief, because I think they really deserved to win that, and if they hadn't have done, they could, they should have felt robbed. But we weren't, and it worked out fine.
Cool.
Really happy.
It must be very satisfying indeed.
Yeah, I think so. Because there's lows and highs in this futures. We've got a lot of representative rugby, and the future team suffers. Mm-hmm. Playing away at Delft was a low point. Yeah. Again.
This year?
Season. Yeah, and last year.
Yeah, last year I was there. It was
this year was very similar.
Really?
Yeah. But I think we've got to be less emotional about that stuff and just think, okay, next thing.
Yeah.
It's not fair to not let those guys get their representative rugby in, and then that's if we didn't get in the top 4 because of that, then
So be it. No, I think we qualified quite handsomely in the top 4, right?
We finished second this time.
Yeah.
Last year we didn't, but I think we coped with things better this time.
Yeah.
And we knew it was going to happen. Perhaps we planned differently for it. I don't remember doing anything different, but we seemed to have more control and more buy-in. Mm-hmm. So it worked out. I was really, really happy with how it turned out in the end.
Good. Congrats, Gareth.
Thank you.
We talk next year. And
Yeah.
well, your hands are less sweaty than the last time. So you've done pretty well there.
This came as a big surprise.
It's amazing, isn't it? Thanks, Gareth. Take care.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Cheers.